If you are an online teacher, I'm sure you've heard of the platforms Preply and AmazingTalker. I have experience with both, so I'm here to tell you about the differences between them today. I have determined each difference to be either a pro or a con based on my opinion. If you feel differently, that's totally fine. I'm here to help you decide which of the two platforms is most feasible for you as a teacher. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's start with the most important thing. Preply does not pay teachers for the trial lesson. Also on Preply, the trial lesson is either 25 minutes or 50 minutes, depending on what the student chooses. On AmazingTalker, however, you are paid for the trial lessons, and each trial lesson is only 25 minutes. On Preply, students typically take a trial lesson before committing to a subscription. On AmazingTalker, however, students can actually purchase packages from you without even taking a trial lesson. For this one, it's a no-brainer. For trials, AmazingTalker wins. When you join Preply as a new teacher, you can immediately set your prices at whatever rate you want. If you want to start at $20, $30, or even $50 per 50 minutes, you can do that. On AmazingTalker, however, you cannot do that. I'm an experienced teacher. I have a TESOL certification, but yet when I joined AmazingTalker, I could not set my rate more than $15 per 50 minutes. Regardless of your experience, because you have not sold at least 100 courses on AmazingTalker, you cannot charge more than $15 per 50 minutes. Once you reach over 100 courses sold, then you can increase your rate. But even then, there's a limit. So it depends on your status. So they have general teacher, advanced teacher, top tier teacher, and based on those levels, that is how much you can charge. So I have sold more than, well over 100 lessons so far, but I can only go up to $21. Given this information about rates, I have to give it to Preply. Let's talk about what happens when you want to increase your rate. On Preply, let's say that you start out at $20 per 50 minutes. Then you get some students. Later, you raise your price by $5. You're now charging $25. The students that you got at the $20 rate, their price will not be affected. They will still continue to pay $20. But in order for you to increase their rate too, you have to talk to the student personally and tell them, hey, I would like to increase the rate that you're paying. This is the reason why. It's very awkward, right? I've never done that on Preply. When you do that, you have to manually change that student's rate on Preply, and they have to approve it. On AmazingTalker, however, when you increase your rate, it affects all of your students. Let's say, for instance, when you were a new teacher at the lowest level, you were charging students $13 an hour. When you reach the next level, you can then charge them $20 an hour. Well, those students that were paying $13, they will get a message from AmazingTalker saying, hey, when your package runs out, you're going to pay this new rate with your teacher. Do you approve or disapprove? But the thing I like about AmazingTalker is that in their teacher tools, you can actually create packages with any rate that you want. So if you hypothetically want to give a student a discount, a special discount, then you can actually go onto the platform under Teacher Tools, create a special package for them with that discount, send it to them, and they pay. For this one about the price rate increase, I will give it to both platforms because both of them have very good points. Oh, let's talk about commission. On Preply, your commission starts out at 33%, and that's until you have taught 20 hours on the platform. After that, it starts to go down, but the least commission that you will pay is 18%, and that is when you have taught over 400 hours on the platform. On Amazing Talker, however, there is an opportunity to not pay commission. It's very, very difficult. On Amazing Talker, the system chooses between two options for you when it comes to commission. It's either the hourly one or the income-based one. So, on Amazing Talker, your commission starts out at 30%. It goes down every 1% from either every $100 earned in income or every 6 hours taught on the platform. You do have the opportunity to not pay commission, but you have to earn at least $3,000 a month. Your commission for Amazing Talker resets every month at 30%. Depending on how you perform based on income or hours taught, will determine how much you pay in commission by the end of the month. So, based on that information, Amazing Talker gets this one. The next thing is payment. On Preply, you are able to withdraw from your wallet every single time. There is no limit. The most popular way to do it is through PayPal. Even though you pay a fee, I do like that about Preply. Amazing Talker, however, you can only withdraw monthly. With that information, Preply gets this one. Let's talk about how we get students. On both platforms, students fill out a questionnaire to find the best tutor for them. On Preply, they are given a list of tutors to choose from, and alternatively, they can go into the search results and find you. Same as Amazing Talker. If you are within the first page or first few pages, of course, you have a greater chance of getting a student. On Preply, if they like your profile or have added you to their cart, Preply sends you a message saying, hey, this student showed interest in you. Send them a message immediately to increase your chances of booking. So there's that with Preply. Amazing Talker, however, has a very interesting setup. A setup that's run by AI. This setup is known as a match request. A match request comes at any time of the day, unless you put it to sleep. You can put it to sleep during certain hours. When you get the match request, you have within 3 minutes to respond to it. If not, it's gone. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is it only goes out to the first 3 teachers who respond. Based on my experience, if you do not respond immediately and click submit within the first 2 or 3 seconds, it's gone. The match requests on Amazing Talker are a huge deal for teachers because this is the main way you get your profile out to students. It's the main way that you get students. Of course, it doesn't work all the time, same with Preply. Even if you respond to a student, the chances of them responding back or even reading your message are very slim. But that's the difference between both of them when it comes to getting students. And although many people complain about the AI match request, I personally love it more than the Preply one. So, Amazing Talker wins this one for me. On Amazing Talker, for me, it's a bit easier to respond to students. You are able to create automated messages. You create your message based on the type of student it is, the first message, the follow-up message, anything. You can create multiple templates based on any situation. When you get the student and you want to respond to them quickly while they're still online, you just click the template. It even tags their name and it immediately goes out to the student. On Preply, however, when you get the notification of a student, you have to copy and paste, replace the name, or even type again, things like that. It's very inconvenient in my opinion. So when it comes to sending messages to students, I give it to Amazing Talker. The next difference is profile changes. On Preply, when you change your profile, whether it's your description or your headline, no matter how small it is, you have to wait for a team to approve it for you. This can take up to a day. On Amazing Talker, however, not only do you not have to wait for approval, it's accepted and just changed immediately. You can actually create your profile in multiple languages. So if you can speak Spanish, Chinese, Korean, you can create a profile in that language. This attracts more students. Given that I get very impatient waiting for a Preply team to approve my changes, I have to give it to AmazingTalker. It's so much better. The next difference is the classroom. Both Preply and AmazingTalker have their own classroom, but there are differences. On Preply, there's only one option for a classroom, and it's their classroom. On AmazingTalker, it's either their classroom or Zoom. Most of the time, and I've been in this situation before, on AmazingTalker, if the classroom is not working or there's an issue for either you or the student, you can actually create a backup classroom. And that backup classroom will be Zoom, and you and the student can have class on there. Preply, however, if either you or the student have problems, and I have had problems, my students have had problems, you are out of luck because there's only one classroom. So you have to go offline and just go to Google Meet or something, send a student a link and have class there, then have it confirmed on Preply. Unlike Preply's classroom, you can actually have lessons recorded in the AmazingTalker classroom. It's an option, so I have mine turned on. You can turn it on or off as a teacher. If you have it turned on, then in your profile, there will be an icon that says downloadable lessons. If students see that, of course, that might convince them to book with you because some students like having their lessons recorded. The lesson recordings are also downloadable for both you and the student. Also, if there is a chance that, for example, the student did not show up to class and you want to have a makeup lesson, you can enter your Preply classroom at any time and just give the student the link if you want to conduct classes on there. AmazingTalker, however, their classroom does not open until 10 minutes before class time. You cannot access it outside of class time. Also, Preply has this feature called AI Insights. It's a report that basically shows what you discussed in the lesson, the topics that you two discussed, the pronunciation and grammatical errors that the student made. It's very detailed. It's not always accurate, and you as a teacher might have to go and manually correct things, but you don't have to. It's an option. That's a good feature that Preply has, but still, I would have to go with AmazingTalker. Both platforms have a reward system for teachers. On Preply, you can become what we call a super tutor. A super tutor is chosen every 90 days, and it lasts for an entire month. On the first of every month, you are assessed to see if you met some requirements. Two of those requirements is that you must have at least a 4.8 rating, and you also must have had 60% of students at least to subscribe to you after a trial lesson. AmazingTalker has many different awards, mainly based on income, and it also can apply to new teachers. And when you get these awards, they are posted on your profile as a flame or some other kind of symbol. If you are a new teacher and you have successfully sold $300 or more in courses over the course of 3 days, then you get your award. Then AmazingTalker asks you some questions. They give you like this interview, and then they post you on their success stories page. It's really awesome. I really like the award system on AmazingTalker. It's actually much more achievable than Super Tutor on Preply, to be honest, because on AmazingTalker it goes based on income. It's not based on like so many different criteria. So AmazingTalker wins this one. Last but not least, there is something AmazingTalker has that Preply does not, and that is another opportunity to earn money. They have a mentoring program. When you first join AmazingTalker, they start like prompting you to join a team. I could be wrong, but I don't think you can officially join a team until you've had a little experience on AmazingTalker. But I mean that officially. People can still reach out to you, give you some advice on how to write your profile, do your videos, but you don't officially join a team until you've reached a certain amount of income or hours taught on AmazingTalker. I'm part of a team, and I will say, based on what I've discovered so far, when you are on a team, your exposure remains high based on how your team members perform. If someone sells, then it benefits everyone in the team. Once you have earned yourself at least $2,000 in 1 month, you can become a mentor yourself. And when you become a mentor, hold on, I got a student. Okay, someone just booked a trial lesson with me on AmazingTalker that starts in a few minutes. So I'm going to wrap this up. When you become a mentor after earning $2,000 in 1 month, then you actually get a percentage based on how much your team members have sold. So you earn money as both a mentor and a teacher yourself. That is why when you see the successful teachers on AmazingTalker that says like, I made $7,000 this month, or I made this much, they are not lying. Most likely they are a mentor and they are benefiting because they have some very good and hardworking team members. So yes, AmazingTalker, hands down, for this extra opportunity. As you can see, AmazingTalker takes the cake.
7, 8, 9. Out! Ladies and gentlemen, by way of knockout and still undefeated, the winner.
Anyway, if you are an online teacher or you want to become an online teacher, I really hope this was very beneficial for you and gave you some insights on both of these platforms. Good luck!